Yo, my dudes, what's going on? David here, and welcome to another Classic Friday movie reaction. This week's movie is The Goonies. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and let me know what movies are must-watch movies. What movies are the classical movies that everyone, including myself, need to watch? Because I promise you guys, there are plenty of movies that this guy has not watched. With that being said, if you enjoy the content enough and you want to see more of it, head on over to Patreon for the full uncut, unedited reactions over there. Movies extra early over there as well. All of that good stuff. Some polls over there. You don't want to miss it. Or you can wait for these 10-minute highlight videos to air here on YouTube, which is totally fine. There is nothing I know about the Goonies besides maybe that my man Samwise from Lord of the Rings is in this movie. That is it. So I have no clue what I'm getting myself into. Hopefully you are here to enjoy the ride with me. And speaking of rides, fasten your seatbelts. Yes, fasten 2 seatbelts, guys. Let's ride.
You schmuck. Do you really think I'd be stupid enough to kill myself?
Oh. Oh, you smart man.
I know how you feel, Wimp. I'm sure gonna miss this place too.
Oh, dang.
Adopted wuss.
Adopted wuss? I know adopted wuss. I'll tell you, Grand.
Oh, it's Mouth.
Hey, Mickey.
Yo, Mikey! Hey, Mikey, seen your dreams?
It's Chump. I just saw the most amazing thing in my entire life. First, you gotta do the truffle shuffle. Come on. Do it. Come on. Do it. Put it out, Mouth. I know you didn't touch it. Get over here. Don't touch it,
Mike, hold this. Why me, Mike? Mike, take this up here. There's a real big ball, you know, and it's got this big thing.
Oh. Oh, he wanted him to drop it. Man, he's so clumsy.
Hey, Mike found a map. Yeah. Hey, look. That says 1632.
Wow, you guys realize what we could do?
Nobody ever found nothing, you guys. I mean, why do you think this map would be up here in this attic when it could be in some safety deposit box somewhere, right?
That's right. And anyway, if Chester Copperpot didn't find it, how would we find it?
But what if?
It's the mystery.
You guys, just what if this map could lead to One-Eyed Willie's rich stuff? Maybe. Then we wouldn't have to leave the Goondocks. Come on,
Hey, Mike,
I don't want
The
to go on any more
Goondocks.
of your crazy Goonie adventures.
When they wreck our house, I hope they make it a sand trap.
and never get their balls out.
Oh, they're getting like foreclosed.
I think they made me lose my appetite.
It's cool because Mikey, to me, Mikey's the adventurous one. Dada's the smart one who comes up with all the cool gadgets. Chunk is clumsy. I guess that's his name, Chunk. And then we got Mouth, who's obviously the cool kid. Brandon, whatever. He just seems like he's the older kid, the older sibling. Kids just don't do this anymore, man. It's sad. Yo, he's cruising.
Troy, you touch that mirror again, I swear to God I'm gonna smack you in the face.
Dude, you can kill this kid, man.
What do you want?
He can get away from you.
4 waters. Is that all?
No. I want the Villa Scalapini. I want a Fettuccine Alfredo. A bottle of Fettuccine in 1981.
Oh.
The only thing we serve is tongue.
That's all the adventure I got right there. I'm out of here. See you guys. Fuck, is that a bear? Is that one creature? Oh god.
Look at the feast I made. You wanna eat it?
Oh, come on, Bran. Oh, they're back. You have to go down there. They didn't hear that. All that screaming. They're like morons. Oh. There's a reason why we're doing this? We're trying to put it back. No. Dude, you guys suck so hard.
Mikey, come on. Fireplace, Brand, it's the only way out. You guys will never get out that way.
Please, please take me to the sheriff's station. I can describe all three of them.
Oh, Chomp.
Bimba dagli occhi vieni da Maria.
This candle. Wait, let me have it.
That's not candles.
Tanner, where are you going? I'm setting booty traps. Booby traps.
That's
Booty.
what I said, Sam. Set booty traps in case of anybody's following
Booty
us.
traps.
I can put talis so we can hear them coming. Their time. Their time. Up there. Down here, it's our time. It's our time down here. That's all over the second we ride up Troy's bucket.
On my lips. Oh, you nasty man.
You smell like fizzat.
Oh, the hand. The hand. It's a booty trap. Data. I don't know how. Okay, we got one.
It's working, you did it! Way to go, Andy, way to go! Come on, you can do it.
Yeah, all of a sudden it's coming back. Yo, she's awful, man. Get off. Get off. We're gonna use somebody else. If you're guessing,
Listen, you're doing fine, you're doing fine.
Andy, I believe in you. Goonies always make mistakes. Just don't make any more. Come on.
you make another one, we did it. That looks like fun. Yeah. That looks like fun. Ah!
What are you staring at? Let's go, load up. Anything you can find in your pocket. Mikey, except that.
Why not that?
That's Willie's. Save that for Willie. Anything else?
Willie not even with us no more.
Jewels into one cave. And then we can hide out in another. And when the Fratellis go into that cave, then we can make a run for it.
Now that sounds like a great idea.
I knew it.
Yo, outside.
Yo.
Okay, this is war. Janice is unhappy. This is uptown.
Let me help you, brother. Let me help you.
Yo. This is a strange little ending battle scene.
Say goodbye to your little friend.
Yo, you're doing the most, lady. I'm really freaked out by his ear. Come on, you smooching everybody, girl.
Brent, what happened to your braces?
What braces Mikey wear?
Ooh.
Mikey, that little shit is a real treat.
A booty trap. Uh-oh, another booty trap.
What booby trap? A booby trap. Booby trap. Did you see the movie? Raven, let's get out of here.
Sloth,
Man, sloth his ears, man.
you're gonna live with me now. Huh? Yeah, I'm gonna take care of you.
Did you ask your mom?
Because I love you. I love you.
Oh my god. Oh, somebody took some?
I'm sure gonna miss being a Goonie.
Rosalina.
There'll be no more signing today or ever again.
So dramatic, man. Alrighty, there you have it. The Goonies, ladies and gentlemen. Originally, when I had watched this movie, I thought, man, what am I watching right now? Not, really understanding what it was that this movie was released in the 80s. It was, typically targeted towards kids. And, I was coming in with the wrong mindset. And so originally, I gave it a 7. If you want to see that reaction and review, head on over to Patreon. But for the time that I had where I really sat there and thought it over and really thought about what this movie brought to not only us as viewers, but to other directors, writers, and everything was a lot, because this movie compares to a lot of movies that, sort of came after it, and even movies that came before it, with your Indiana Jones and, sort of your Home Alone with the criminals in the movie. And so, I was pretty harsh when I first watched it. Again, just not understanding what it was I watched and sort of expecting something different. But through time, over the weekend, I sat down and I really thought to myself, like, this is a really good movie. And, to me, it's one of those movies that I'm not entirely sure if kids nowadays might like it as much as, you did when you were a kid. But it definitely holds up. It definitely is one of those really good movies that, I will, let my daughter watch when she's older and see what her thoughts are on it. So originally, like I said, I gave it a 7. I'm going to give it an 8 now because I think it's a really good movie and they did a lot very well. The kids themselves are adorable. Every single one of them. We get Bran, who, is that big brother figure, and even we get 2 girls that are in the Goonies squad as well. And so it's just a lot of fun. Originally when I first watched it as well, I didn't really understand the whole sloth thing. But now looking back at it, it really is an all around good adventure kid movie that even the adults can enjoy. It's almost like that happy medium between, kid jokes and really cheesy things, and then the more little serious tone with the criminal stuff, even though they're as goofy and not as smart as, one would think. At least you get to see that there's still very good stuff here. This is a movie that by now it's like 35 years old. That is freaking mind blowing that it's already been 35 years since this movie, came out in theaters. And now we have it here for, people like me who have never watched it because, growing up, I didn't go out to the movies that often. And then obviously I wouldn't have caught this movie anyways because I wasn't born in the 80s. But, even I just recently started, enjoying movies for what they are and, wanting to sit down and watch movies. So a lot of you might think, man, there's no way you haven't watched this. No, there is way. And I've never watched this before. And it's just one of those movies that everyone said you need to watch it, you must watch it, and I'm glad that I finally did. It's a really solid movie. It's a real good movie that holds up, like I said, to this day, and it's a lot of fun. Like I said, there's serious moments, there's more kiddier moments, and it's blended so well. And for it to be a movie that was made back in the 80s, it's crazy because even the picture itself looks very clean. It looks very good. Obviously, like I said, the kids are this movie. You knew it when you watched the trailer way back when. You knew it as you watched the movie. You know it now. The kids are everything. I think Mikey's the most adorable little kid ever. Mouth is really funny. Chunk and that truffle shuffle. is ridiculous. I've actually seen the Truffle Shuffle prior to watching the movie, and I had no clue that it came from this movie. And so it's just a lot of fun. You obviously see Data, and he's more of the tech savvy guy where he's got all his gadgets and all that good stuff. And it's just a really good blend. We get a bully at some point in the middle of this movie as well with Troy, and we get to see just a lot of adventure. It's almost one of those like movies that when you were a kid, or even when you were 10, 12, however old, it was the Indiana Jones for kids. You know what I mean? It was that movie that allowed us to have that treasure adventure, going through the caves, solving mysteries, and solving puzzles and booby traps and all that fun stuff. And so that was never, there's no movie that can compare to this movie. There are movies that have, you can tell, have picked, parts of this movie and, ran with it, Stranger Things, Home Alone. I mentioned that a lot because obviously Harry and Marv, they come off very much like the Fratellis. And so there's a lot of comparisons. There's definitely a lot that you can see that other movies pulled from this movie. And it's cool to see because it's definitely very deserving. It's definitely one of those movies that, again, originally when I watched it, I was very confused. I didn't really understand it. But then as I over the weekend sat there and thought about it, I was like, man, that's a really good movie. It's a really fun time. You sit there for, however long it was, an hour 45 minutes or so. And you tend to not remember the whole movie. But then as I was, piecing together this video for YouTube, I was like, wow, there were a lot of moments. And to me, I'm not very adventurous. To me, I've never watched the Indiana Jones movies, so I don't get that whole stuff. I've never been somebody that liked the whole treasure hunting thing. But the beginning of this movie is some of the best I've ever seen because the kids really carry this movie so well. It makes you feel like, a kid again. Like I said, I'm in my mid-20s, and I'm sure you guys feel the same way when you watch this movie and you dive back into it and watch it again. You feel like, you're one of the kids, like you can relate and all that good stuff. And, kids nowadays just don't do what these kids are doing. And so it's really cool. I thought the story behind it was really cool. The whole, their house is getting foreclosed on. And so they're trying their best to, come up with money. They go up to the attic. They see that their dad had some treasure maps and stuff up there. And so they go on this adventure. And obviously Bran doesn't want them to. So they tie him up, ride their bikes down. And it's just a lot of funny stuff. I love Mouth's, like, he's always very like, I don't know. He's just like very, his name, mouthy. And so every person's name matches them. And so I love it a lot. We then obviously run into the Fratellis with the kids. She then gives them water that looks like dirt is all up in it. It's ridiculous. And, then we get to see Sloth for the first time. And when I first heard it, I'm like, dude, that's a bear. That's a legit bear down there. And so then I had remembered that I had saw that the picture of the sloth prior to watching the movie. And so, and it's always something that everyone sort of talks about. It's like, especially when they're making fun of somebody, they're always like, you look like that guy from the Goonies. And so at first I'm like, well, I've never watched the Goonies, but now I understand where they're coming from. And Sloth's really cool, and I like Sloth and how Sloth and Chunk go back and forth, and how they grow that bond. And it's I don't know, it's just like it's so many movies in one. I think there's no movie that can compare to it. I don't think there will ever be a movie that can compare to it. It's just brilliant. It's classic Spielberg, and it's just an all around great experience. Like I said, I'll definitely have my daughter watch it and get back to you guys on that, as far as if she enjoys it as much as you guys did and as much as I did. again though, but the people on Patreon didn't get to see this review and this reaction, because when I first did this review, you know, I was almost like very harsh on it. Very, very harsh on it, because I was looking at it from the standpoint of like, what is this movie right now? It is so many like different things. It's so many, you know, they tackle so many different areas. It's crazy. And so all in all, like I said, throughout editing this video, I was like, oh man, this is a really good movie. And especially for the time it came out. And I know a lot of people also say, you know, the 80s were like classic movies, like some really good movies came out in the 80s. And so this would be up there with them. And, you know, you really can't, I mean, it depends what you consider a kid movie, but this has to be, you know, top 3. I would say all time. Some people might not agree. Some people may agree with that, but it is definitely some of the top stuff when you think kid movie. I know people think Back to the Future as a kid movie. You know what I mean? There's so many things that you can consider into that, but The Goonies is definitely one of those movies that you have to respect for what it did. You have to respect for, you know, what characters came out of that. Obviously with Mikey, Sean Astin, you know, he got a good role in the Lord of the Rings trilogy. And, you know, there's, I think Bran, isn't Bran Thanos? Isn't Josh Brolin Thanos? Or Thanos, however you pronounce his name. So, you know what I mean? Like this movie was a stepping stone. And I don't know Mouth's name, the actor wise, but I've definitely seen him in a lot of movies. And you know what I mean? It's just like, you put all that together and you know, you piece it up together the way they did. You know, it's brilliant, man. It's a really solid movie. I enjoyed it very much. But if you agree or disagree, let me know down below. Like I said, I gave it an 8. Originally, I gave it a 7, but I had to go back and redo this because I didn't do this movie justice, and this movie is definitely worthy of at least an 8. And so that's what I'm going to give it, an 8. Like I said, if you agree or disagree, let me know in the comment section down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and head on over to Patreon if you want to catch that raw right after reaction, or if you want to catch any other movies and stuff. And so, yeah, that is all the time I have for today. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I'll catch you guys later. Peace, guys.